It isn't every day that you get to witness the end of one of the most successful manga in existence. I've been thinking and obsessing over the end of Attack on Titan for about 7 years at this point, and today I want to give my 2 cents for how I think the series might end in the coming months. Let's be honest, all of us have been burned by the ending of a series. For a lot of us, that was Game of Thrones just a few short years ago, but even in the world of anime, we have our fair share of trash endings. The fear of a failed ending looms large over Attack on Titan, as so many of us have discussed and pondered this series for years, and the amount of mystery box series with terrible endings seem to grow by the day. Even with all of this said, I am pretty confident that the last 2 chapters will be able to deliver a satisfying and thought-provoking conclusion to this story. The most crucial aspect of the series' conclusion being how it handles the remaining character arcs. Levi, Mikasa, Connie, Jean, and Falco are all important characters who I hope get some sort of development and conclusion. Levi and Mikasa in particular, I hope get some sort of closure for where they're at currently. Levi did finally reach his goal last chapter with killing Zeke, and with one subtle panel, Isayama seems to hint at the hollowness that he felt after killing Zeke. Mikasa as well has been the Eren protector for so long that her reaction to his death will really define her character. On one hand, it would be incredible to see her kill Eren, but I also don't want to totally rule out the possibility that she could massacre her other friends to save Eren in the end. I don't think that would really happen, but it would be a fantastic parallel to the first time Eren and Mikasa met. All of these characters will be really important to making sure that we get a satisfying conclusion to this story. I mean, we've already seen Connie go from one of the most incompetent soldiers in their class to being one of the heroes who's ready to save the world. But one character that I have to mention is our favorite sad boy, Reiner. Reiner has wanted to die for a very long time at this point, but he has gone from being a kid who wanted to be a hero to now actually being in a position to save the world. I highly doubt he died in chapter 137, and I hope he gets a satisfying conclusion to his very complicated arc. And of course, we have to mention Eren, who we haven't even seen for a handful of chapters. Ever since the start of the Rumbling, he hasn't really been present in the story, but just the skeleton of his Titan that has surrounded everything we have seen. If the shift from Eren as the hero of the story to the monster of the story wasn't obvious enough before this, by removing Eren's perspective for so many chapters really hits home the monstrous threat he is. Obviously, I don't think Armin killed Eren at the end of chapter 137, and to be honest, if he did, that is the only real way I see this ending being massively disappointing. However, since Eren possesses the power of the Warhammer Titan, it is almost certain that his physical body is elsewhere, and that is where the scouts will have to go. If there is one thing I am rooting for to happen in these last 2 chapters, it is a conversation between Eren and Armin. I would love to hear them discuss their different views of freedom in a way that we got to see with Zeke and Armin in the last chapter. I would not bet on that happening just because Isayama might not have a chance for these 2 characters to be alone together. But I do think if it did happen, it would be an incredibly satisfying moment for both of these characters' journeys. I mean, we start out the first episode seeing them both talk about what's beyond the walls. And I don't know if it's just me, but I get a real Lelouch and Suzaku vibe from Eren and Armin right now. 2 best friends who have different ways of going about how to create peace. I could very much see Eren trying to use the Rumbling to attempt to bring the world together, and I think that would be a very fine ending to Eren's character and fitting for his journey. Although an unapologetic Eren who doubles down on the mass killings would be equally as interesting and satisfying. I do think Eren sacrificing himself may be the most likely outcome for his character, but I would not rule out the possibility of him staying a villain for the rest of the series. And speaking of his relationship with Armin, I can't wait to see what becomes of him after these events fall out and the rumbling is done. Armin is very likely going to be the most important character in the entire series, which is something that I should have guessed in the very first moments when he was literally narrating the entire thing to the audience. But it kind of fell to the back of my mind as other mysteries about the Titans arose in the first season. But even besides the fact that Armin is narrating the story, he is also saved in two of the most iconic moments, Episode 5 and the Serum Bowl. And on the topic of the 5th episode of this series, I have another video coming out tomorrow discussing a what-if scenario about that episode, so make sure to stay tuned after this video for more information on that video. Isayama has gone to great lengths to keep Armin alive, and again, even in the most recent chapter, he is able to move Zeke along the path to help save Armin's life. There is no doubt in my mind that the 2 times Eren puts everything at risk to save Armin, that Eren's future self was forcing him to do so. Armin is the most important character in the story, and likely the only one who could actually save humanity in this situation, and I think we will see that come to fruition in the last 2 chapters. There is one more major point that I want to discuss, and that is the cyclical nature of the series. Everything in Attack on Titan comes back around. And it's not like there are just 1 or 2 cool moments of foreshadowing or where something is recalled, but I mean everything comes back sooner or later, which is used so much that it becomes a motif for the series. Grisha showing the key to Eren in the first episode becoming a major player in recent manga chapters, Marco's death, who was a side character that no one really cared about in the first handful of episodes, being an important form of trauma for many of our characters, and even Eren's faulty gear coming back around in the 3rd season. This is certainly due to how much of the story that Isayama had in his head to start the series. This is one of the reasons that I love the paths so much in the series, and why I really enjoyed the end of chapter 137. It is fitting that many of the characters come back to our heroes, because as the series has been telling us since the start, everything is connected. These connections possibly give us some insight into what the main message of the series will be. At the center of this story is the conflict between freedom and society. The characters at the start are obsessed with freedom outside of the walls, but ironically, they also have a limited amount of freedom inside of the walls because of their social structure. What does it truly mean to be free, especially when you are trying to have freedom in a society as large as the one presented in Attack on Titan? I think some of what the series is trying to tell us is how we are all connected and deserving of basic human freedom, but trying to let us fully grasp what freedom means when we embrace the connection to others. And the only character in the series that is willing to have this conversation has been Armin. That is why Armin was the correct choice to revive, and that is why Armin seems to be the key to these last few chapters. I have no way of knowing what chapter 138 and 139 hold in store for us. I'm only here spitballing ideas that will make for a satisfying conclusion to one of my favorite stories ever. But if I'm going to throw a prediction out there, I think Eren will be waiting at Paradise Island for the small crew of scouts and Armin to return and face him down. Their final showdown will be heartbreaking as Armin or Mikasa is forced to kill their best friend. In the end, Eren Yeager will be seen as the villain of the world. But like we all know, he was forced to become this way, to become the villain of the story because of the environment he was put in. And thus we will be given the end of Attack on Titan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. The last 2 chapters of Attack on Titan cannot come quick enough, and same with MAPPA's adaptation of the anime, which has just been knocking it out of the park so far. And I hope you guys will check out my video that is going to come out tomorrow, or will already be out if you watch it anytime past that, which is what if Eren Yeager died in the 5th episode of the series? I think it's one of the most interesting questions because it's something that a lot of us really think about a lot when we first watch this series. So I'm going to try to break down in a few different ways kind of where the story could have gone if Eren did indeed die in that moment in the 5th episode. So I hope you guys will check out this video, and once it's up, it'll be linked down below. So thank you guys for watching this video. More Attack on Titan content will be on the way, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.